Viewers, before we start, drop your city and current local time in the comments so I know who's sharing the air with me right now. The air that's where it begins. 2 weeks of crisp Sierra Nevada oxygen had scrubbed the inside of his lungs clean, replaced stress with pine resin and glacier melt. Historians still argue whether mountain air is actually cleaner or if your brain just wants to believe it when the view is that good, but either way, it's addictive. He'd been deep undercover running on campfire coffee and a fugitive's trail, and the case had wrapped 3 days ahead of schedule. Coming home early was supposed to be a treat, just him a quiet street, maybe mowing the lawn if he felt wild. He stepped out of the rideshare with 2 suitcases, one full of tactical gear, the other full of I'm just a tourist clothes. The Hawaiian lei some airport greeter had shoved on him still hung around his neck like a prank gift from fate. His modest 2-story home sat at the end of the cul-de-sac garden, still neat despite his absence. Beside it, the pride of his off-hours life, sat his 32-foot Class C motorhome, the Behemoth. It was parked a little wrong, angled, and the main door was open. Every instinct that had been snoozing since he left the mountains roared awake. He dropped the suitcases, the thud making the local squirrels consider relocating. That's when he heard her sharp voice brimming with unearned authority. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" She stood there, crisp white pants, matching blouse, blonde hair shellacked into a helmet. Her husband was beige in every possible way, clutching a new backpack. A young man, early 20s, looked between them and him like he'd walked into a live episode of a bad reality show. Behind them inside the RV sat 3 matching roller bags. They were moving in. He kept his tone calm, almost a customer service voice, and told her it was his house and his RV. She reacted as though he'd confessed to sinking, the Titanic face-reddening voice climbing octaves. Claimed they'd rented it for a family vacation. That absurdity hung in the summer air while her husband mumbled support and their son stared at his shoes. Then came Act 2 of her performance, the trembling phone, the 911 call, the creative rewrite of his Hawaiian lei into gang necklace. He didn't move, didn't raise his voice. Let her build the lie so tall it would topple under its own weight. Sirens began to wail in the distance, music to her ears, a warning bell to his. 2 patrol cars swung into the cul-de-sac, red and blue painting the scene. He stood, hands visible, the badge still tucked away, as the officer's eyes locked on him first. The mustached officer went straight to commands, no questions, no "what's going on here," just hands on your head. His partner, wiry and jumpy, leaned toward the crying woman, coaxing details like she was a fragile teacup. The most glaring evidence, 2 suitcases by his front door, the fact he wasn't running seemed invisible to them. Historians still argue whether tunnel vision is trained or just human nature, but in this driveway, it was survival for the wrong side. He gave his name, gestured to his house, and stated plainly that the people by the RV were trespassers. That didn't slow Mustache down. They demanded ID. He pulled his driver's license, only keeping the FBI badge tucked like a last trump card. Address matched the house. The first crack in their belief. The woman, unfazed, pivoted, claimed he was a squatter with fake papers. The husband fumbled for a non-existent rental confirmation. Spotty Wi-Fi was their excuse when it didn't appear. The son looked like he wanted the asphalt to open and swallow him whole. He scanned the scene like a crime board, fresh scuff marks by the RV's tires, muddy ruts in the lawn, a scratched door lock, and a crude bump key still jammed in the ignition. Amateurs, but determined ones. He guided them toward the physical truth. The wiry officer noticed the broken lock and asked why, if they'd rented it, they didn't have keys. Their story frayed. The husband's voice lost its volume. "Time for the weak link." The agent locked eyes with the son, spoke quietly. "You don't have to carry this for them. This is a felony." It cracked him. "Mom, he's right. I heard you say an empty house RV just sitting there." The confession hit like a dropped cymbal. The officers froze. The woman hissed like a tea kettle left on the burner too long. Mustache didn't pivot to arresting the thieves. Instead, he decided the problem was still the homeowner. He barked out a nonsense charge, interfering with an investigation, clearly just to save face. That was the moment to pull the pin. He said the sergeant's rank let the weight of command sit for a beat, then dropped it. Special Agent, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Badge in the sunlight, gold flaring like a truth bomb. Mustache went pale, his hand falling from his cuffs. The woman's jaw clicked shut, mid-yell. The balance in the driveway flipped completely. Suddenly, the man in the Hawaiian lei wasn't the suspect. He was the authority. Chen and Peterson roll up in a quiet black sedan, all calm edges and clipped nods, and the whole street exhales like someone finally found the pause button. Credentials out. Chen thanks the officers, reassigns custody, and the sergeant's mustache wilts 2 shades lighter like a caterpillar reconsidering its life choices. Peterson gloves up and gets to work photos of the scraped lock, the muddy rut, the crude bump key in an evidence bag. He jokes that the chip key would have stonewalled them anyway. This behemoth is more stubborn than a cat in a bathtub, and even Mustache manages an embarrassed grunt. Fun tidbit fringe enthusiasts swear the world's power runs on ley lines. Today, the only line that matters is his Hawaiian lei and the chain of custody line. Names are run, faces tug at memory, and then it clicks. He places the beige husband Gerald from a family tree in the Sierra fraud case he'd just closed, the woman and white sister to the very man he cuffed at a mountain cabin at sunrise. Motive slides into focus like a lens twisting sharp. They aren't borrowing a vacation, they're hunting for evidence to burn. Historians still argue whether the 1910 Pierce Arrow touring Landau counts as the first true motorhome. But today's history is simpler. Obstruction beats nostalgia every time. Chen splits them for interviews. Gerald folds fast, accountants do math, and the numbers on federal sentencing aren't cute. The son, shaky but brave, sticks with the truth. You can see his shoulders drop like he just put down a piano. The queen in white tries one last frostbite glare, but it's hard to menace through tempered glass and a Miranda card. Charges stack neatly: attempted grand theft, auto braking, and entering, conspiracy, and obstruction. It's like Tetris, except every block is a felony, and nobody's humming the theme. Neighbors hover in little clusters, pretending to check sprinklers. Somewhere a retriever sneezes heroically, which feels on brand for a street that usually treats trash day like the Super Bowl. By dusk, the behemoth is sealed for forensics. The couple ride away cuffed and quiet, and the cul-de-sac's hush returns thinner now like a bedsheet that's been washed too many times. He's grateful, irritated, relieved, and hungry in that order. Justice is righteous, but it doesn't cook dinner. He clocks the cost anyway, how fast a lie found a microphone, how slow truth had to walk it back. He makes a mental note to send the kid a witness voucher, and yes, a decent apology to the lawn. Somewhere the mountains keep breathing cold, clean, stubborn, and he decides to save that smell for the next time the street forgets him. Jokes on the street, he's not forgettable. The lei goes on a hook by the door, a neon reminder that even welcome symbols get misread and that he still gets to choose what they mean tomorrow. Now let the scene dim until it's only porch lights and a softer sky, the kind that knows how to turn the day down without scolding it for being loud. The patrol cars are gone. The black sedan has folded back into the wider night, and the street remembers how to be ordinary trash bins lining the curbs like quiet sentries, sprinklers testing the air and leaving small jeweled arcs on trimmed grass. He stands in the open doorway, one suitcase to each side, and listens for whatever is left to creak in the attic, a patient clock the refrigerator settling into its nightly hum. There's room here for a slower breath, the kind that takes the long way in and the long way out. He lets the angry edges of the day drift outward past the sidewalk, past the cul-de-sac's roundabout, whisper past the tired shade of the big oak until they're far enough away to look smaller, then smaller again. The lei hangs by the door, silly and bright, already turning from prop to keepsake, from accusation to joke, from joke to something gentler, a welcome saved for a better morning. In the living room, he sets the badge on the table not as a triumph, but as a weight released. It gleams once in the lamplight and then becomes just another object in a safe room. Sleep asks permission and doesn't hurry. He gives it time. He thinks of the kid who told the truth of the neighbor's dog that finally stopped worrying of his own behemoth resting under careful lights where no one can pry at it tonight. He thinks of mountain air bottled inside a memory, how it waits like a lighthouse you can carry in your pocket, steady and small, and yours. When he finally moves, it's only to draw the curtains half closed and leave a slice of sky. The house answers with a hush. Floors relax. The clock agrees. And if you need it too, let the noise step back. Let the room grow wider, and let the last light soften until it is only the color of quiet. Breathe in, once slow, unambitious, then breathe out longer, like drawing a line in sand that a wave will soon smooth. Tomorrow can start wherever you set it down. For now, the night holds, the street holds, you hold. Good night.